The Tidradio TD-H8 Gen 2. Here's a fresh look at a radio that's been out for a while now. The big brother to the popular TD-H3. Bigger, with more power, with an advertised output of 10 watts. Let's check it out up next on the Higgins Report. Welcome to the Higgins Report. I'm Mike Higgins reporting, and here's my report. Up front, this radio was provided to me by Tidradio. I'm not a Chinese operative, and I'm not being compensated for this review, other than they gave me the radio. If you purchase one of these using the link in the description, I will receive a small portion of that purchase at no cost to you. In fact, use the coupon code Higgins Report and receive 10% off the already discounted price. That's not too shabby. Let's take a look at the specs on this radio. It comes in a ham version and a GMRS version. These are usually packaged as a bundle. I would buy it in a bundle. I'll share my bundle preference at the end of this video. You won't want to miss that. Stay to the end. Anyway, you can see the differences here on the Tidradio website. Many will opt to unlock the radio. Well, be careful if you are somewhat new to either ham or GMRS. I'd probably run it in the mode you'll be using most often, ham or GMRS. If you're feeling fancy and run unlocked, remember, it will transmit on whatever frequency you are on. Granted, the power output will vary, but it will transmit. Don't be that guy or that gal or in between, you know, the idiot that ends up transmitting on EMS frequencies. If you just want the convenience of GMRS and a ham radio in one radio, I understand. But the FCC does not. Beware. Well, how about some size comparisons to kind of give you a good idea of how big this radio is. This is the TD-H8. This is the quote-unquote little brother, the TD-H3. Significant size difference. Here it is next to a Kenwood D74. Virtually the same size. However, the TD-H8 is thicker. Definitely has a thicker housing. Really basically due to the thickness, I would say, of the battery. I wish the battery was a little thicker on the D74. Side note. And let's see, compare it to maybe a direct competitor, I would say, the Baofeng UV17R. It is about the same size, and I would say the thickness is, now this one I don't have a belt clip on, but they're pretty close. Again, the battery's a little bigger, but it does have a higher capacity battery here on the Tidradio TD-H8. I want to say the battery on this UV17R is around 1800 milliamp hours. I don't feel like popping it off, but I believe that is correct. And let's see, one more comparison. This is the ICOM ID50, which is a little, and now these radios are a different class of radio, obviously, but just to give you an idea size-wise of where the TD-H8 comes in. Next slide, please. Build quality. Well, my first impressions are pretty good. It looks like we've got some pretty robust buttons here. They feel fairly solid. Decent push to talk. It doesn't seem too easy to push or too hard to push. Not for my taste. It seems just right. You got a couple of programmable keys on the side. You got your standard Baofeng / Kenwood type of speaker mic input. You got USB charging down on the bottom of the radio. That's kind of a bummer, actually. It would have been nice to have that on maybe the side so I could stand it up when I'm charging it via USB, but it does come with the cradle as well. You could always take the battery off of the radio to charge it. Speaking of the battery, the first couple times I took this battery off, it kind of seemed kind of stiff. We're getting a, I don't know if you can see that, 2500 amp hour battery. Like I said, it can go right on the charger. First couple times I had this off, it was pretty stiff, and I don't know if it got broke in or if I'm just used to it. You got volume / on and off button here. One thing that I think could have been nice if they would have put maybe an indicator. There's a little dot, and if you can see it, a little line on the knob indicating where the volume level is set. It's kind of hard to see. It would have been nice to have a little white line there. I guess I could add a white line. It would be helpful due to the fact that there is no indication on the screen as I vary the volume level, so you really can't tell where you're at as far as your volume level goes until you hear the speaker activate. The antenna, this is a VHF UHF antenna. It's your typical stock rubber duck type of antenna. It's fairly flexible. If you have it in your pocket, it's not going to be jabbing you. It's fairly flexible. Honestly, with a lot of these sub $100 or even a sub $150 or a sub $50 radio, I'd probably go ahead and spend a little bit of money and maybe pick up another antenna, depending on what bundle. If you decide to buy this radio in a bundle, some of them throw in an extra antenna. You can check that out. But you know, with these receivers, I'd probably give it all the help I could and maybe buy yourself a nice diamond dual band antenna. There's lots of them to choose from out there. I'm not going to make a recommendation. Do your due diligence and get yourself a decent antenna. You can use it probably on multiple radios. So just a thought there. So overall build quality determination, it meets my expectations, particularly due to the price point of the radio. So they claim the display is stunning. Well, it is nice, really nice, but I wasn't stunned. It takes a lot to stun me these days. Decently contracted color display would have stunned me maybe back when we all had monochrome monitors. Now, for the price, I'm surprised at the quality of the display. I would say I'm surprised, not stunned. Mike, the display will suck outside. Well, I knew you'd say that, so let's take a look. Alright, let's check out how the screen looks in the full sun. It's pretty cold out here. It's 16 degrees. But the dog is thinking, what the hell are you doing out here? And I'll show you what it looks like. I mean, it is full, bright sun here today. It couldn't be any sunnier. And it's a little bit of snow. It's kind of really bright out here. So let's see what the screen looks like. It's probably not showing up as good on camera. It actually is very readable compared to some of the other color displays I've had. And of course, it could always be brighter, but it's not too bad. Well, it doesn't suck. Decent display. I like that. Maybe I could get a job in their marketing department. Well, it doesn't suck. And it's cheap. What else do you want? I need to copyright that, a Higginsreport mission statement. Well, one thing you do have the ability to do now on this radio at this point is to adjust your mic gain, which you did not have that possibility with earlier firmware when the radio first came out. So I went ahead and I used my All-Star node, which I was able to connect to the Parrot node, and I was able to tweak my audio. It came from the factory. I believe it said at 15, and I bring it up a couple of notches. And I believe now the audio is pretty decent. My output audio and my receive audio seems pretty clear. I'll demonstrate. KB9MLJ testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. KB9MLJ testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Audio sounds great. I'll go ahead and let's jump over to, now I am in a basement here on this stock rubber duck. I don't know what kind of receive signal I'll get, but we'll check the NOAA weather radio. There is a hot button that came programmed. Press and hold this bottom button here.
Lows around 15. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Gusts up to 20 miles per hour in the evening. Chance of precipitation 50%. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy.
As you can see, it's pretty decent audio. Now, if you do turn it all the way up to the maximum volume, it's too loud, and it does get a little bit distorted, but for your normal listening level, it sounds pretty good. 10 watts. Well, we'll see about that. I don't have a digital watt meter, but I got something. Let's check it out. All right, we'll take a look and see what kind of power output we're getting here. It's going to vary across the band. I'm not going to do an extensive testing here from the very bottom of the band up to the top end of the individual bands. I'll just check a midpoint here and do a quick check. So for 2 meters, I'm going to be in at 146 megahertz, right smack in the middle of the band. And you can see here that we are running low power right now. And so for the setup, all I have is an adapter right now going into my coax, and I'll be measuring it on a analog meter for a change, and we'll see what kind of readings we get. So it's not going to be laboratory accurate, but it's going to give you an indication of what kind of power to expect out of your radio. So for low power, let's see what we get. For low power, I am actually just under 1 watt. If you can see there on the left side of your screen. And I am into a dummy load on the other side of this meter. So let's check out medium power. Medium power, about 2.5 watts. Let's go to high power. High power, we are at a solid 9 watts. So, not too shabby. Let's check out 440. All right, on 70 centimeters, I'm going to be checking at 440, and let's see. Let's go to, we'll start out on, on low power. So low power. Two watts on 440. Let's check out medium power. Oops. Medium power, about 4.5 watts. Check out high power. So we're at high power. Oh, just almost 7.5 watts. It looks like we're coming in about 7 watts. So 7 watts output on the high power setting on 440. Just for the heck of it, I'll go ahead in case somebody has some questions. Right now, this radio is running in the unlocked mode, so you can have a ham mode, GMRS mode, or unlocked mode. I'm currently in an unlocked mode. Just for kicks, I'll go ahead and check the output on I'll pick the maybe channel 10 on GMRS. Let's see what our power output is on that frequency. So channel 10 on GMRS is 467.6125. Low power, just under 1 watt low power. We'll check out medium power. So medium power. Oh, just over 2.5 watts. Check out high power. So high power. Just over 5 watts high power on GMRS on channel 10. The power output on high is very near what they claim. So call me paranoid, but day to day as I traverse the suburban/urban landscape, or as I'm trekking through the currently plowed over cornfields, the flat cornfields of Illinois, in the interest of battery life and RF into my skull, brain life, I probably will run medium power the majority of the time. I'll kick it up to full power when I'm upside down in a ditch. I can't quite reach my cell phone, and I can't hit that repeater. If only I had high power on this handheld. Hey, I do. So, in that situation, I'll crank it up. My brain could probably stand a jolt in that situation. Other than that, I don't need to show off that my HT is more powerful than yours. Programming. You will need a programming cable. Mine did not come with one. There are bundles that do. If you don't have a cable this is a cable that I've used on a lot of the Baofeng radios, and it did work for me. If you don't have one, order yourself a bundle that comes with the cable. If you plan on using your computer versus Bluetooth programming, which I'll discuss in a moment. You can use Chirp or the software that you can get from Tidradio. I like Chirp, so that's what I used. First, and I'm going to call it a quirk. I think I know why, but at least my cable, which I've used on lots of different radios, seem to be touchy on this radio. Touchy. And not in a good way. You see, the shape of the radio housing, it's recessed quite a bit. And when I go to plug the radio in, the cable into the radio, you push it in, and it seems like it's all the way in, but you really got to push on it. And if you take a look, the upper edge of the radio, this little lip right here, I'll try to zoom in for you, hits my cable. So I really had to push it in. I mean, it took several attempts before I actually got it to communicate properly. So depending on your cable, if it comes in, this is going in at on an angle. If it's a cable that's going straight in, you might not have that problem. I did get it to work, but it was a pain. Now, the Bluetooth programming. Well, I prefer Chirp, as I mentioned. You youngsters out there might prefer your phone, the app. I'm going to say, well, it's functional. A lot of the things on the app prompt you to create an account and log in. You poke around in the app trying to figure it out. Everything practically I clicked wants me to log in. I don't want to log in. But you can still change things in settings and edit your memories, so it is usable without logging in. Personally, I would probably do the bulk of my programming, which is what I did, with the computer using Chirp, in my case. And afterwards, if I kind of feel like I put that app on my phone. It's called Oddmaster. I know, it's an odd name. And I would say it's fairly easy to make minor changes in the app and then write it back to the radio. You're done. Well, the first thing you need to do is install Oddmaster onto your phone. I've already have it on here. I did not create an account, and I've just skipped that. And on the radio, the BL button, you press and hold this button, and you'll see this icon appeared on the screen indicating that the Bluetooth is on. And then I need to pair it. So connect Bluetooth. I can see here's the radio. Oh, hit the little button. Bam, connected. Select the model. You can see there's several manufacturers on here. I'm going to select Tidradio. Oops, wrong radio. Right now I'm running in the unlocked version, TD-H8. I select that. Hit read from radio. Now if this was a brand new radio, there wouldn't be a whole lot in here. I would go ahead and read from radio, just like I normally advise using Chirp or a program. You get a new radio, save all your default settings before you start tweaking things, and that way you mess something up, you can always go back. So in this case, I downloaded, this is my #1 channel. You can poke around. I can go to function, and I can change all kinds of the settings that I would have to go into the menu on the phone or on the radio and change. So as I said before, there's a lot of things that it's going to prompt me to log in order to use that feature. Well, I'm not doing that. When you make your changes, you hit the right button and it will write back to the radio. In conclusion, I like this radio. I haven't checked its spectral purity, but from what I understand, this version, this Gen 2 version with the current firmware, has been improved and is spectrally pure now, within reason. There are plenty of other videos out there of people testing that. I'll let you check those out. Honestly, I'm lazy. I didn't really see a reason to do it again. Leave me a comment, or leave a comment if you have tested it. Enlighten me. It's nice to see that TID Radio listened to some of the complaints out there when this radio first released. Kind of looks like they got things squared away. The price is right. Now, the bundle I like. It's actually on the Amazon website. I will leave a link in the description. You get an extra battery, a speaker mic, a programming cable, an extra antenna to play with. I don't think my coupon code will work here, and I also won't get jack squat unless you order from TID Radio. But there it is. I'm not a marketing guy. That concludes this Higgins Report. I reported my report. 73s for now, and be safe.